Have you ever had a teacher with literally no common sense? My chemistry teacher, Mrs. Henderson, was absolutely convinced that every student injury in her class was a deliberate suicide attempt. She joined Lincoln High after some safety seminar about recognizing warning signs in teenagers and immediately turned our chemistry lab into a psychological evaluation center. From day one, she watched us like ticking time bombs, treating every minor accident like a cry for help. It started when Jake accidentally cut his finger on a broken beaker. Instead of getting him a Band-Aid, Mrs. Henderson immediately called the guidance counselor, school nurse, and Jake's parents for an emergency intervention. She asked, with dead seriousness, "Jake, are you having thoughts of hurting yourself? This broken glass incident seems very suspicious." Jake stared, bewildered. "I was just washing dishes." The beaker slipped, but she'd already filled out a mandatory counseling referral. When Sarah got a small chemical burn from splashing sodium hydroxide during lab, Mrs. Henderson gasped and assumed it was intentional. "Sarah, did you deliberately expose yourself to this base solution?" Sarah explained she'd miscalculated, but Mrs. Henderson was already calling the principal about another concerning incident. By October, our chemistry class became therapy. Mrs. Henderson replaced all glass equipment with plastic, banned sharp edges, and required safety goggles during lectures. She installed mirrors to monitor student behavior and kept a clipboard documenting every sigh or suspicious equipment handling. The breaking point came during our acid-base lab. I was measuring hydrochloric acid when the graduated cylinder slipped, shattering on the floor. Mrs. Henderson rushed over, panicking. "Emma, stop! Don't move!" She blocked me from cleaning up and called backup. Within minutes, the guidance counselor, nurse, and vice principal crowded our classroom. "Emma engaged in deliberate, self-endangering behavior," she announced dramatically. "She threw laboratory glassware containing acid in a clear attempt at self-harm." 20 pairs of eyes stared at me. "I dropped it by accident," I said weakly, but she was explaining escalating, dangerous patterns. They pulled me into the hallway for intervention. The counselor asked if I was depressed. The nurse wanted to examine me for intentional injuries, and the vice principal called my parents about mandatory psychological evaluation. I explained accidents happen in chemistry, but they were convinced I was in denial. My parents arrived expecting crisis. Instead, they found me in the principal's office while Mrs. Henderson presented a PowerPoint about warning signs. She documented everything: rubbing my eyes after chalk dust, self-harm gesture, inhaling ammonia fumes, deliberate toxic exposure, sitting in back, social isolation. My mom, a nurse, listened with growing incredulity. "Normal teenage clumsiness is being interpreted as suicidal behavior?" Mrs. Henderson nodded gravely. "Teenagers often mask cries for help as accidents." My dad asked if I'd expressed concerning thoughts outside lab incidents. The answer was no, but she insisted the pattern was clear. Peak absurdity came when my parents observed class. Mrs. Henderson stopped 6 times for concerning behaviors: Tommy yawning, depression, Lisa dropping her pencil, attention seeking, Marcus asking for bathroom, avoidance. She turned chemical bonds into group therapy, asking students about feelings toward molecular attraction. My parents met with the principal and brought our family doctor, who explained teenage accidents are normal and pathologizing. Every incident was harmful. The principal found Mrs. Henderson had referred 23 students for psychological evaluation in 2 months, all for normal lab accidents. The school board required her to undergo training about distinguishing actual mental health concerns from typical behavior.